Editorial. Those stock market dark pools need transparency and light. Chicago Tribune. The stock market is in a dark place these days, and not just because of volatility brought on by Russia's deplorable invasion of Ukraine. When individual investors push the buttons on their phones and computers to place trades, in many cases their orders never make it to the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, or other traditional exchanges. Instead, those orders get diverted to electronic platforms run by private market makers who match buyers with sellers at a price they determine, behind closed doors. Wholesalers and dark pools, as they're known, have come to dominate a big part of the financial world, accounting for as much as half of U.S. stock market activity, and especially targeting small-scale retail investors. One of the most prominent dark pools is run by Citadel Securities, owned by Chicago billionaire Ken Griffin. Dark pools typically pay brokerage firms for the order flow they receive. In theory, they can make money on the tiny difference between bid and ask prices when trades are matched. The brokerages, meanwhile, can earn so much by selling customer orders they often can afford to provide basic services for free. Investors naturally appreciate paying nothing in commissions. No longer do ordinary investors have to buy stocks in round lots. Nor do they have a disincentive to make trades as small as 1 or 2 shares. Sounds like a great deal all around, right? Trouble is, dark pools have built-in conflicts of interest. For instance, the orders they fill are not competing against other orders, as they do on transparent public exchanges, so the price is open to manipulation. Plus, the split second between when a brokerage sells an order and when it is filled can provide enough time for electronic trading systems to take advantage by placing orders for themselves, a shady practice known as front-running. Customer orders diverted to dark pools don't get publicly reported the same way as other orders, which makes it difficult for investors to know if they got the best available deal. Chicagoans who recall the shouting and arm-waving of the city's famous open outcry trading floors may also remember that customer orders were open to manipulation in those days as well. Overall, the move to electronic markets has brought about huge gains in fairness and efficiency, created better audit trails, and sharply reduced the cost of trading. But the fact that a relative handful of companies control millions of stock transactions on dark systems that aren't as open as traditional lit exchanges leaves the nation's financial markets vulnerable. The problem needs fixing before the next scandal, please. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is responsible for revising its rules to keep up with technology and, hey, race a surprise, the regulators have fallen behind. Dark pools have been big players in the financial markets for years now, and payment for order flow has been an increasingly common practice for 2 decades. Yet despite taking some limited action in the intervening years, the last time the SEC did a thorough upgrade of the relevant rules was 2005, when it adopted the regulation national market system that helped establish a legal foundation for dark pools. Remember the iPod Nano or Motorola rocker phones? Probably not, as those gadgets also were introduced in 2005 and technological advances made them obsolete in no time. Similarly, technology tends to disrupt SEC rules that then fail to protect investors. The good news is that the SEC today has a seasoned chairman well known to Chicagoans from his tenure at the head of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The bad news is that Gary Gensler has way too much to do. He's toughening enforcement practices, deciding how to regulate cryptocurrency, and scrutinizing SPACs, the so-called blank check companies that tap public markets for capital without saying exactly how they'll use it. He even wants to take on global warming by expanding climate risk reporting requirements. The ambitious list goes on, enough to make anyone wonder if the SEC will be spread so thin that it won't be able to head off a crisis in the market's internal plumbing. We've already had some previews of what can go wrong. In a widely publicized event back in January 2021, retail investors bid up and up the price of GameStop Corporation, exposing conflicts of interest among dark pools and brokerages that arbitrarily cut off customer trading in the stock. The SEC duly filed a report in October explaining what happened, but the agency has not advanced comprehensive reform. At least Gensler has one thing straight. The marketplace only works if people trust it. Finance is ultimately about trust, Gensler said in an interview earlier this month with MarketWatch. Given the lack of transparency in dark pools, he observed, the investing public is finding it harder to have that confidence, so that's one of our projects.
Yep.
One of our projects. Focus, Mr. Chairman, and fix this problem before it blows up. Join the discussion.